Good morning, and welcome to PrestoCon 2023. We're really excited to be here today. My name is LeClerc, and like it was mentioned, I'm the chair of the Presto Foundation Outreach Team, so we are in charge of putting on events like this, so we're so excited to be here. I hope many of you were able to attend some of the really great workshops yesterday. They were phenomenal, sold out. I think a bunch of people were able to get hands-on and spin up some Presto clusters by the end of the day, which is a win, so thank you to everybody who was there for that. We have a really great lineup today. Before Girish and I kind of jump into things, Linux Foundation wanted me to share a few things, first of which is we do have a code of conduct. We want to remind everybody about it. In short, be respectful, be nice to each other, and if you have any concerns, feel free to go talk to the people at the registration desk. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Without you, yes, thank you. Seriously, without the sponsors, community events like this are very hard to do, so we really appreciate everybody who is a sponsor and supportive of this show. Make sure you stop by the sponsor tables. They're right outside. You probably walk through them, chat with them, and see what they're about. So we're here. This is PrestoCon 2023, and it's so wonderful to be looking out at all of the beautiful Presto community. As I sat down with the conference organizers earlier this year, we talked a lot about what was important for PrestoCon this year, and it was two things. It was, of course, the tech. There's also the community. So a little bit more about the tech. You may have seen that we celebrated Presto's 11th birthday this year. For the past 11 years, the engineering community behind Presto has been working on making Presto the best in-class SQL engine in the market. And even more so, just in the past few years, the leaps and bounds that this project has come has been really incredible. And I'm really excited for what you're going to learn today. Presto is powering some of the largest data lakehouses in the world. Today, you're going to hear a lot more from the engineers and the architects and the developers who are building Presto and have been doing so over the last few years. You may have seen that we actually have one full track today dedicated to Prestissimo, which is the code name for the Presto on VLOX project. This is the native C++ engine that's going to bring a huge performance boost to Presto. So it's really exciting to have a day full of learning all about Prestissimo. In addition to that track, we have engineers from Meta, Uber, IBM, Intel, Buma, Denodo, and a bunch more sharing all the work they're doing with Presto. Whether that's the platforms that they're integrating Presto into, the features they're building, so many things. So I am really excited for you all to learn more. And a community. Community is really important to us at the Presto Foundation. It's a big reason why we have PrestoCon in person. And we are really big believers in the goodness that can come out of a vibrant, active tech community. As you probably know, Presto is an open source project. It's housed under the Linux Foundation, and that's also really important to us. Presto Foundation is made up of a consortium of many different industry leaders who together are working to bring forward the Presto open source project. The idea that no one company or individual can take control of the project is something that's really, really important to us as a foundation. In fact, you'll hear many speakers today talk about Presto's governance model as one of the big reasons that they chose Presto. So let's take a quick look at what's gone on in the Presto community in the past year since we met last. I'm really pleased with the growth over the last year. The GitHub project remains one of the most popular open source data, big data projects with over 15,000 stars. Our community Slack channel saw a 40% growth in users last year, which, by the way, if you are not part of the Slack channel, please join it. This is where the community hangs out. If you need help troubleshooting Presto, if you need help getting started, if you want to learn more about community events, it's all in the Slack channel, so please go join it. We have over 4,600 members across 6 different meetup groups across the world. It's like a 45% increase in members, which is really awesome. Personally, I am really excited to be doing more in-person stuff next year. In fact, just in the last month, we had in-person meetups in New York City and in Bangalore, which was really awesome, and we're planning on doing even more next year. So please make sure to join your local meetup group too. And if we look at the project itself, over the last year, we've had individuals from over 30 different organizations contributing to the project in some way. You'll hear in Tim's keynote later how diverse that set of contributors is. So why should you join the Presto community? We have a vision of building the best engine for the open data lakehouse. We believe this is where the industry is headed. And it's an opportunity to work with some of the best engineers in the big data space. So what does the community look like? It's users of Presto, it's users of Presto who contribute code back, it's people who use Presto and help others use it, it's those who are writing and enhancing our docs, it's people who help develop it, and it's people who help maintain it. So you can see that our community does many different things. And these might be 6 different ways that people are actively engaged in the community. But there are more ways to do that, right? Many people are writing blogs. They are speaking at conferences. They're speaking at meetups. They're helping answer questions in the Slack channel. We welcome all of them. We have worked and are continuing to work on building an inclusive, positive community where anyone who wants to contribute to Presto is welcome. So I invite everyone here today to join the community, and hey, maybe next year I'll see one of you guys up here talking and giving a presentation, which would be amazing. Okay, so with that, I would like to introduce Girish Baliga. Girish is our chair of the Presto Governing Board and is the director of engineering at Uber. So Girish, please welcome and take it away.
Thanks a lot, Ali. Welcome everyone to PrestoCon. Great to have you all here in person. This is our second in-person event, so it's pretty great to see this nice big audience. All right, so first off, I want to kick things off by defining what we mean by Presto. So for us, Presto is a fast and reliable SQL engine for data analytics and the open lakehouse. So I want to call out 4 terms here. The first one is fast. Of course, it's in the name Presto, right? So when you submit a query to a Presto engine, it starts running right away. You usually get your answers in a few seconds. It's fast. You know it's reliable because Presto runs in some of the biggest internet scale companies today. So Meta runs it. It was built there. We run it at Uber, ByteDance. You name it, the big companies are running it in some form or the other. And then Presto is focused on SQL, right? So the thesis of Presto is that you can do pretty much what you want with SQL. So you specify what you want to do, and the engine will figure out how to do it. So it could do it on a lakehouse. It could do it on a dedicated engine. It could do it using some streaming engine. It could do it as a Spark job, whatever. You don't have to care. The Presto system will take care of it. But the focus is SQL, right? And then finally, the open lakehouse. So Presto is focused on building an ecosystem around open source technologies, right? So Presto out of the box will run on most open source data technologies available there, storage systems, file formats, you name it. But then the other part is the lakehouse. So before Presto came along, if you guys remember, the state of the art was you land your data in the data lake, and then you suck a subset of it into your warehouse, and that's where you run your queries. But now with Presto, you can just do it all where your data lands, in the lakehouse. So Presto, fast and reliable SQL for data analytics in the open lakehouse. So Presto works on a wide variety of technologies. So I mentioned we are focused on open source. So there are a bunch of technologies at the bottom here, like for instance, if your data is sitting in Elastic, Pinot, Mongo, Redis, and so forth. It also works on other kinds of systems that you might not identify as data systems. So for instance, Kafka, Cassandra, MySQL, and so forth. But there are also proprietary connectors, right? So you can run Presto queries on things like BigQuery, on Delta, on all of these proprietary systems. So because Presto is open, it has a connector-based model. Not only can it run on a bunch of things, you can extend it. So if you have one system within your company or your setup where Presto doesn't work, you can make a contribution. You can build a connector and make sure it works for you. So Presto contrasts today against data warehousing technologies, right? There is still a contrast. People are still using it. But it's about how you do a comparison, right? So it's about trade-offs. So there could be systems out there. There probably are systems out there which perform better than Presto because they are highly optimized, highly focused. There's a data silo out there. But you get a lot of things if you use Presto. So as I mentioned, Presto is open. It's flexible. You can change it. You can customize it the way you want. But most importantly, the trade-off is price performance. Presto is free. You can just go to our website, download it, and install it, and customize it the way you want, right? And on the performance side, we are actually making heavy investments. So we'll talk a lot more about it. But an early preview is Prestissimo. So those of you who joined us yesterday probably got a preview of this through our work lab. But there is heavy investment from Meta, Intel, IBM, Uber, and lots of companies on making Presto performance get closer and closer to the top of the class systems out there. OK, so where is Presto headed? Now, we stole this slide from Andreessen Horowitz's architecture survey report. And they've boxed Presto into that small box up there called ad hoc query engine with a bunch of other systems. So that's a starting point, but that's not where Presto is today. Presto can work on your data warehouse workloads, right? So as I was mentioning earlier, not only can you run queries on your lake, but you can also run queries at a competitive price performance with your warehouse. So you can actually replace your warehouse. You don't need a separate dedicated system. Presto on your data lakehouse is enough. And we are increasingly modifying Presto, upgrading Presto to work with ML workloads. So this includes things like feature engineering, so the features that you feed into your models, as well as the model training and model evaluation, right? So there's a heavy investment from multiple companies in different areas to make Presto performant in the ML workspace. And finally, Presto can also work on the ETL side, right? So it's not just about queries. It's also about the data itself, right? Getting the data that lands, the raw data, and massaging it so that you have performant models that you can run fast queries on. So these are some of the many areas in which Presto is expanding. But when the next architecture report comes out, they'll need a much bigger box of Presto. I can promise you that. Great. So let me talk a little more about the Presto Foundation. So I think Ali gave a very nice preview about how the outreach committee is holding all these conferences, meetups, building the community. But this is how our foundation is structured, right? So the Presto Foundation is part of the Linux Foundation and follows the standard Linux Foundation model. So first, we have the governing board. So the governing board consists of members, board members who are dues-paying members of the foundation. So these are typically companies. They pay a nominal annual fee to join the foundation as a governing board member. They get one or more board seats. And then the governing board's job is very similar to board of directors in an incorporated company, right? They provide oversight. And they make sure that the foundation runs well. And a part of the governing board, it empowers the outreach committee headed by our wonderful Ali. So the outreach committee, as you saw, was responsible for all the activities that are run as part of the foundation. At the heart of the foundation, the technology itself is the technical steering committee. So this is composed of the highest level contributors, the people who know the most about the internals of the engine. They meet once a month. The TSE, of course, is headed by Tim. He's going to talk a little more about it in a little bit. But they meet about once a month. They basically drive the roadmap of the Presto project itself. And then they work very closely with the governing board. And then finally, we have the community, right? All of you. So it's very easy to be part of the community. It's an open community. Anyone can join. Anyone can contribute. You can also become like a committer for Presto. You can even join the technical steering committee without being a board member. So this is a question we get often. So it is a nonprofit run on Linux principles, but there is also a place for corporate members. So this is kind of a good balance that we've found for the foundation. All right, so here are the principles that we have built our foundation around. We want to have one neutral and united Presto community. So we want to be open. All are welcome. There are no walls. Anybody who wants to join and contribute can come in. We are neutral. We don't take a stance on technologies or companies or anything like that. And we are united. So the main goal, the only thing we ask of people who join the foundation is to work towards making Presto more useful for everybody, right? That's the only thing we ask. And then we have an open, transparent, and technical leadership and direction. So we have all the posts in the foundation. They're all based on votes. open votes. They are transparent. We change our leadership every year. There's an opportunity for new people to come in. And we take input from everybody, right? If you have an opinion, if you feel strongly about it, you can come, you can contribute, and absolutely shape the future of Presto. And finally, no one individual or company is greater. We work together as a collective, as a community, and that's the core of what keeps Presto going. So as you can imagine, people who are interested in a project like Presto are probably also contributing to other open source projects and initiatives out there. And that's true of Presto. We have contributors who have committed to a whole bunch of other projects. And typically, it works both ways. So not only do they contribute there, but they also make Presto work better in these areas. So for instance, if you take Ranger or Parquet, so the committers from there have come in and optimized the Presto engine to work better on those technologies. Similarly, all the other ones here, right, like Hoodie, Iceberg, Druid, Pinot. So it's a wide community, diverse set of projects, and more coming. And if there's anything on that you don't see on this slide, you're more than welcome to join and contribute. And we do it in collaborative ways. So this is a very nice structure that I think we put together over the last year. So we have started these working groups, which are focused on specific areas within Presto. So there is an architecture group, which talks about the roadmap, the technical roadmap, what are different areas we need to focus on. And then there are a couple of performance-oriented groups. So there's the optimizer group, which talks about how we can improve the query optimizer itself, the guts of the engine. And then there's a native worker group, which basically the Prestissimo project works with Velox, tries to make the engine faster using native technologies, right? So C++, SIMD, that kind of stuff. And there's a group which is focused on security. This is particularly important for larger companies because of compliance and all these other requirements. So again, this is a great model. And if you folks feel there is another area or two that you want us to focus on, we'd happy to take that up. Finally, I want to call this out. This is the core of the community, I feel. We are a collective. We all work well together. So different participants here have different needs from Presto, right? So at Meta and Uber and some of the other companies, we are largely focused on how to make Presto performant for our internal users. We want it to be the engine of choice for all our users within the company. And then there are companies like IBM, Denodo, Alibaba, and so forth, who are enterprise vendors, right? Who want to make Presto a public offering. And then there's companies like Intel who are basically optimizing Presto. They want to make Presto performant on specific hardwares and specific technologies. They're all pulling Presto in different directions. But what brings us all together, what makes it all work, what's the secret sauce, is the community that we have built here, right? So the community, the open, neutral, transparent community that we have built, that is what keeps it all together, and that is what brings Presto and makes us move forward as a whole. So with that, I'll hand it back to Ali, and she'll go in some more detail about all the wonderful talks we have today. So welcome, everyone, and looking forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, Girish. So what's in store today? We have a few keynotes coming up from Meta and IBM, all in here, so no need to move. We have 2 tracks, like I mentioned earlier, one focused on Prestissimo, the other focus on Presto, many user and engineering sessions. If you're lucky enough to get one of the O'Reilly books at check-in today, which is really exciting, by the way, I think we should give that a round of applause. That was years in the making. That book is published. Thank you. Thank you to the authors. Tim is here. Vivek is here, I think, somewhere. We have a table. You can go grab a book and get it signed by the authors. But very excited to have this out in the market. And then please stay for the conference reception. We will be doing it where all the food is. Stay, have a drink, have some food, and hang out. Okay, so finally, before I end here, I wanted to take a minute to recognize our community champions. These are the faces, some of them, not all of them, of the Presto community. Like I talked about earlier, there's so many ways that you can give back to the community, and this slide is a testament to that. It's code contributions and reviews, it's speaking at meetups and conferences, it's writing a Presto blog, it's answering questions in our Slack channel. To our community, we see you, we appreciate you. Thank you for making our community very awesome. Yes, cheers to that. All right, now let's have an awesome day of all things Presto.